Welcome, everybody. I'm Pastor Sherman, and this is Christ and Culture. I want to welcome you all to the broadcast. Hope everybody's doing well today. It is it's the beginning of another week, and it's about another week before we get to Christmas time. Yeah, I know. It's sneaking up on us every time. It just seems like it sneaks up quicker and quicker every single year. But fear not. It's going to be a wonderful time. Hopefully everybody's got everything bought and paid for and everything else. But here's the thing, folks. Don't worry about all the packages. I mean, don't worry about all that stuff, because you know what? The real reason for the season is Jesus Christ. Amen. And we don't want to lose sight of that. Okay. Anyways, some of you, this might be your first time checking out the show. This is Christ and Culture. And we come to you, about once a week, myself and my partner in crime, Tommy Allums, and we talk about all kinds of cool stuff that's going on in the community and in the culture from a Christian point of view. And so, Tommy, how are you doing today, Pastor Tommy?
I'm doing well, Pastor Sherman. How are you?
Awesome. Just talking about I don't know. We were talking about this before we got started. How are you doing? So, are you now? Traditionally, have you guys been a bunch of gifters and bunch of stuff? Because I know you've got kids just like I do.
Yeah. So, early on, when you have a big family, you have to try and, having 8 kids, you got to prepare them. First of all, you got to teach them. Mm-hmm. And then prepare them. Hey, Daddy's not rich, and there's no such thing as Santa Claus. I know I might just try.
You actually tell them that?
I'd probably upset half of the world right now.
Yeah, you did.
But yeah, it's not real. It's more family gathering.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But this year the kids are grown and they're all out, and they're going to be I've got one at home right now, so we're just going to have fun and hopefully eat a lot and
yes,
and just relax.
And relax. There you go. Now, Pastor Tommy's got to show a picture of his lovely little daughter at some point. She's adorable, folks. I mean, you think of Pastor Tommy, except for real cute. I mean, or I should say cuter. Okay, I should say that. Okay, with no hair on his face or her face, stuff like that. She is just precocious. She's fun. She's delightful, and so I'm going to get her a present. I think I'm going to get her something, because I don't have any small little girls anymore. And so I got a couple of small little boys, but we just throw them a bone or something like that, or something,
right?
Football, something. They're good. Anyways,
they'll play with the box that whatever it is came in.
Whatever, it doesn't matter. Boys are pretty easy, and so I know. Are you guys gonna have a big shindig at your church too?
Probably not. I was thinking about maybe having a maybe like a prayer vigil in person, probably on Friday.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Well, over at Sagestone, we're actually having our first Christmas. Now, we're a brand new church plant, so we're actually going to have it's our first Christmas party. And so we're going to have a secret Santa thing. You bring something cheap and stuff like that. And I remember one time we had a Christmas party, and one of the couples that came, the lovely couple, John, and I forgot her name, but John was blind. So John's blind guy, has a cane and everything else. And so we got this secret Santa thing going on, and somebody took his secret Santa stuff. Because you steal, right? So you go to a pile of stuff, you pick up whatever you think, and then they go around, and then somebody else goes, I think I want what you got. So you've got to go find someone. And they go, and so the thing was, I can't believe you stole from a blind man. So fun. And people go, that's right, I did. Poor John.
It wasn't you, was it?
No, it wasn't me. No, it wasn't me. No. Oh no, I was thinking about it though. I was thinking, man, I can't do this to this poor guy. He's, a blind guy, right? He would have done it to me, but I wouldn't have done it to him. So, anyways, well, I hope all of you have a great time. Whether it's a big party or it's a small party, whether you give gifts or not, we hope everybody has a great time. But remember, the reason for the season is always Jesus. So we're not gonna get on any of you folks, but we just want you to remember that it's all about Jesus. Amen. Well, there was a story. Let's get on with some of the stories that are on, because there's some amazing things that happened this last week or so. Many of you know. We'll start off with the most pressing thing right now. There was a shooting in Wisconsin, and there was a teenage student. They have identified her, and so there was a teenage student. She opened a fire with a handgun Monday at a private Christian school in Wisconsin. She killed a teacher and another teenager during a final week before Christmas break. And the shooter also wounded 6 others at Abundant Life Christian School, including 2 students who were in critical condition, Madison Police Chief Sean Barnes said. A teacher and 3 students have been taken to hospital with less serious injuries, and 2 of them have been released by Monday evening. Now, here's the crazy thing about it, and I was watching the update on this story just a couple minutes ago, is that this child evidently just enrolled in the school. So it wasn't as though she had been there all the entire year. She had been there she was very new to the school. But some people they're trying to figure out what was the reason why this child did this. And had she been picked on, and what could literally push this child over the edge. And Pastor, I guess they're starting to look at her digital footprint, and they think that they've found a manifesto. I don't know if you heard about this yet, that they might have found a manifesto that this girl said basically, hey, I've been picked on, but she goes to this private Christian school, and people she barely even knows, and she just starts shooting up people. I mean, can you imagine, Pastor Tommy, and we both have kids, what it must be like? What's going on in the mind of a child 15 years old? The early reports are 17, but she's actually 15 years old. What could be going through the mind of a child at 15 years of age that would push them to the point where they're going to take the life of their fellow students? So give me give me some thoughts on this.
It's really hard for us, being as old as we are, to understand this generation. They're under a tremendous amount of pressure, social pressure. Our social pressure was, we might have got talked about, we might have had a couple bullies, but that was it. We didn't have social media. We didn't have, all of the things that we have now. We didn't have these crazy teachings that causes people to be a little less stable. So I can't imagine what is going through a teenager's mind right now to be able to do that. And because it's been so prevalent, I want to just talk to parents and say, communicate with your child. Spend time with your child. Get off the phone, get off social media, get your kids off social media, and spend time. I remember growing up, during the weekends, we would go to a family member's house and basically stay the weekend and just hang out. The kids would go outside and play while the grown-ups would cook and play cards. And it was just a party every weekend. Mm-hmm. And after school, we would go ride our bikes and we would play and we would interact with people.
Sure.
There's no interaction with the young people today.
Yeah, you're right.
And I think that's a part of it.
I think you are so right. As a matter of fact, I work in a school, and there was a child, and I work with the kids that are almost, they're at-risk kids. They're right before they go, before they're being expelled from school, they come to see us, and we try to do whatever we can to try to keep them in school. And one little girl, she came up to me, and she said, she said, "Can you write me a little slip of paper?" Because she had passed a couple of the tests that we had given her, and she says, and she got 100% on it. She goes, "Can you say something so I can take this home to my grandma?" Because she doesn't believe me that I'm doing anything. Well, you know what happened? I did. I wrote her a note and said, "Hey, congratulations" to her, and I gave it to her. She took it home. They didn't believe it was her. And so today she said, "Can you sign your name to it?" She tells me. Because she did it again twice. And this goes back to what you're saying, Pastor Tommy, is that they did not believe that this girl did this. They don't believe that she's actually got the mentality to, and this kid is just crying out, right? She's crying out for, look at me, look at me. And so our parents dropping the ball someplace. I think it goes back to that, what
absolutely.
you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Parents are dropping the ball. They are. We live in, especially now, those of us who have younger kids, let's say younger than 16 years old right now. Most of the parents are in their 30s and 20s.
Mm-hmm.
They're not typically as old as I. I just got a lot of kids, and it just took this amount of time to have this many. But that generation is connected so heavily upon social media. So the hours that people spend on their phone, they could be spending time with their kids, with their homework, talking about life, communicating, finding out what's on their heart, what are their challenges. I had uncles growing up that I could talk to, that taught me what it was like growing up to be a man, what was expected of me, what were some of the things that I should watch out for. There's no communication with young people today. And I think, parents are dropping the ball. And so I want to encourage parents, if you're watching, take the change, make the change right now to start communicating with your kid before it's too late.
Yeah, and they've got different pressures on them too now. I mean, it's just amazing because they're gonna find somebody to pay attention to, and parents, it needs to be you, because they will listen to you if you will allow them to listen. This one, the same girl said that because she got into our system. And her dad found out about it. Of course, he was sent a note home about this thing. And she wanted him to be mad. She wanted him to care. And he didn't care. He just didn't think like, And she said that she actually cursed at him at some point during this exchange to try to get him to listen to her why she got in trouble. And so we've got a whole generation of parents right now, and parents, we're not trying to get down on you. We're really not. But we want you to be aware that your kids are at risk. They've got a whole different dynamic working. It's not like when we were kids and, come home before the street lights come on, and, the biggest thing was a spit wad at school. And we've got kids that now we did a drill today, an active shooter drill today, right? And they've got different things that they've got to worry about. And parents, they need to know that you're in their corner. And I know this from experience that they need to hear from you. So, wow. And this could be what they're going to find out about this girl. She's got this manifesto, and she's going to be saying, "Hey, where was my mom when I needed her?"
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Wow.
For those of you that you might just be tuning in just now, I'm Pastor Sherman, this is Pastor Tommy. And this is Christ in Culture. We want to encourage you, if you've got anything that you'd like to ask us, go ahead and drop it in the comments section. We'd love to hear from you. Or you can write to us at Christ and Culture. That's spelled that all the way out, Christ and Culture Show at gmail.com. It's Christ and Culture Show at gmail.com. And we'll get back with you as quickly as we can. I'm hoping that next year we're actually able to start a newsletter. It'd be great to be able to write to people and to be able to connect with people. You could also download the audio or the video. I believe the video, you can either get it on YouTube, of course, or on godstream.org. And all you got to do is write into us at Christ in Culture, christinculture.com. christandculture.com. It'll take you directly to our page on godstream.org, or you can just go to godstream.org and Google it in. You can also get us on Spotify or Apple Podcast. Okay, and I think I've said a lot of stuff because we. if you're not confused enough, just leave us a comment. Okay, that'll be good. Pastor Tommy, there was another article about. So many of you know we just had an election just a few weeks ago, literally a few weeks ago, and there was an article from SRN News, and they said the Public Religion Research Institute just released its final analysis for the 2024 election, and as expected, white evangelical Protestants were a critical part of Mr. Trump's winning coalition. 85% of them cast ballots for the president, as did 64% of Hispanics. That's a lot. 64% of Hispanic Protestants and 59% of white Catholics. Mr. Trump also took 57% of white mainline Protestant votes. This is big. Kamala Harris won big amongst atheists. Wow. So Kamala Harris won big amongst atheists and other non-religious people. Wow. So, Pastor Tommy, I guess this might be a rhetorical question. What does this tell you about, the voting, the voting trends of people?
Well, typically religious people are more conservative anyway, period. Mm-hmm. Because religious people have something, and I'm not saying that non-religious people don't have values, but we have values that we live by. We have values that we teach our family and the communities that we associate with mm-hmm. are typically with those same values. Whereas non-religious people or atheists have different sets of values. Mm-hmm. And those values aren't typically conservative. And so this is why we have, the result that we have, and being that this country for a long time has been predominantly a religious type of society, which is why we're seeing, the numbers kind of reverse into the conservative category.
Yeah, it's funny that we were talking about this before too, because I keep up with this stuff as much as I possibly can about the trends, Barna research, those kind of things, and how some people go, well, you're just trying to say that Christians are all Republicans and devil worshippers are all Democrats. See, we're not saying that at all. But it is pretty obvious that the trends are very, very easy to see. That people who tend to go to church and who are more religious tend to be more conservative, where people who are liberal tend to not go to church, if at all, or espouse the Christian worldview. And so, and you can see that as a makeup of the Biden administration's cabinet. I mean, these folks were all just a bunch of. It was the who's who of non-religious people. Now, here's the thing about it. Yeah. They claim, though, here's the thing, from Nancy Pelosi to Pete Buttigieg to who's an avowed homosexual, to other people in the White House, they all claim to be Christians. And yet they cling to the Democrat party plank, which is abortion on demand, abortion up to the time of birth. And so how can you square that circle?
Yeah, it's really difficult to square any circle, for that matter. But yeah, it's it just goes to show you how polarized our country is right now. But I think it may be kind of coming together a little bit. We'll see. But I'm just hoping that this whole event, this whole season has been an eye-opener for many people to begin to evaluate their own life and evaluate their own thought process of how they want to live their life. And some people have, and they made their decision. But at the same time, this also allowed us to see the consequences of some of the decisions that we make. And so we have to, and some of the events that's taken place over the last 4 years, some of the events that are taking place now as a result of the decisions that we as a country have made. So we can kind of look back and see, maybe we shouldn't have done that. Let's rethink this thing and make different decisions moving forward.
I think you're right. So one of the things I think was pretty blatant is as soon as Donald Trump was able to secure the White House, and there was a securing of both houses of Congress, that you saw an overt overture by the religious right to start moving forward into the culture like never before. One of the things in particular that I remember, and it was an article we talked about probably a few weeks ago, that can't remember exactly where it was at. Maybe you can help me with this. But in one school district, that the mayor, I believe, of the town is going to allow or to mandate, it's the school district, so the superintendent of this particular locale, they're going to mandate that they have Bibles in their as part of their reading curriculum, and to have it as, because it's the bedrock, but we base everything upon the Bible, that the kids should know what they're talking about, why we're talking about it. And you would have never seen that if Democrats had been there. As a matter of fact, you would have seen them go, no, get those Bibles out of here, right? But now you're seeing it even more, that they're saying, no, we want a religious trend to salt and pepper our nation, as opposed to getting religion out of our public schools. We want religion back in. And that would have never happened had it been a reversal. If you would have seen Democrats get a mandate to say that they should take over and they should do this, that, or the other thing, you'd have never seen this. So you can say what you want, but it's pretty obvious that if you're a conservative person, you're probably more than likely a Bible-believing, church-going person. And if you're a liberal, you're probably not.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. But here's a very interesting, a curious article. This was out from Christianity Today. Now they have another study that says evangelical churches, even though, with all what we just talked about, folks, I want you to keep that in your mind. What we just talked about, conservatism, church, that kind of stuff. A study, evangelical churches aren't particular. This is the title of the article. It says there's a study that was taken that says evangelical churches aren't particularly political, though. Okay, so I'm gonna read this. Even if members are politically active, and many leaders are often outspoken about issues and candidates they support, most congregations make great efforts to keep politics out of the church when they gather. So I'm going to read just a little bit of this. Despite the incessant tracking of evangelical Christians, Latino Catholics, Muslim, and other religious groups through the recently ended election season, excuse me, a study released by the Hartford Institute for Religious Research shows that most congregations are politically inactive. Okay? With nearly half actively avoiding discussing politics at their gatherings. The Hartford reported politics in the pews, analyzing congressional political engagement focused on how congregations as a whole deal with politics, not religious individuals or their clergy alone. Congregations often get left out of conversations about religion and politics, but are inferred to by influential. Read support. So in a nutshell, even if you might have a pastor that's very politically active, you might have a couple of the people that are in church who are politically active, but as a whole, the church is not. they're generally not particularly. How do you do that? How I don't know. I don't know how that makes sense. And what are the ramifications of this, Pastor Tommy?
So I could see how that happens. One of the things is maybe getting letters from either the state or the government. If you're a 501c3, I've gotten some letters before, so it just depends on, because everybody's a marked target, and so they could have gotten some letters um, about that. Um, that's one thing, and then two, another thing. Um, I know it gives you a statistic, but depending where you are, you run the risk of separating or dividing your church, because there may be someone in your church who may not agree with you, and then all of a sudden, you being the leader, we're held to a higher standard. The Bible talks about creating schism in the church. So that's something that would definitely cause some pastor to go, wait, hold on, wait, okay, maybe we should rethink this thing.
You think so? Is that okay? So what? So where else should pastors go? Maybe we shouldn't say anything about this in the pulpit. What other things?
If they're going to do something, it needs to be separated from the house of worship. I think if
Yeah,
you're going to do that, it should be separate. It's nothing wrong. If you're going to be political, be political. But if we're going to, we have to make sure that we don't create that division, because we got, I don't know how many denominations. I heard it's like thousands of denominations
oh
already,
yeah,
and that
sure.
that just blows my mind, especially when it says it's one Lord, one body, one baptism, one faith. You know, we're supposed to be one, but the careful thing is, if we use the platform for that, and I know some ministers do, we have to be willing to pay the price for what it does to the body, for
Mm-hmm.
the rest of the body. Because it's not about how we feel and what we think and what party we stand for. It's literally about the kingdom,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so if we're going to be political, let's take that outside and be a Christian community, political, whatever, right? But using the church, it could be a little tricky with that, because it's
Sure.
going to cause somebody a headache for
Sure.
sure.
So do we? So this is one of those debates that pastors are going to have probably from till now until we go home to glory. How much pastors should be involved? And some pastors are very involved politically. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Some are not at all. Um, and I don't know if when you stand before the Lord, He's going to say, "Why weren't you more political?" He's not. He may not do that. But is there a place? Because there was always a place, Old Testament, for the man of God, and for things were different. Okay, because you had prophets and stuff like that who would speak into the lives of kings and stuff like that. But has it changed? Has that place of the church, as the influence, as the salt and the light of society, has that changed over the centuries?
It shouldn't have, if it has. So you're right, though. We should be an influence.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, I
Mm-hmm.
100% agree that we should be an influence. Um, but do we be an influence in our places of worship?
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody is called to be, a vocal political person. Some people are just, hey, I'll work behind the scenes. I'll count the ballots. I'll do this, but don't have me stand up and talk. Don't, or whatever it is, right? Um, but we should be influencing um, high-ranking members of society, because we're called to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And God will put us there. And we have to make sure that when he does put us there, we do what we're called to do and what we're supposed to do, and not back down because of their stature. So I agree with you. If it has changed, it shouldn't have changed, because we are called to be salt and light of the earth. You're absolutely right.
I think, and especially as the hour grows near, as time gets shorter and shorter, that there's a lot of people who don't know about the Lord. I mean, it's funny. Like I've mentioned this. I've mentioned it quite a bit in our shows that I work at a school, and my coworkers have no problem telling people who they're voting for, that kind of stuff, and they're really trying to get the kids to go in a certain direction. I tend to never tell anybody who I'm voting for. I mean, people know my church. They have there's no question about who I'm voting for in church, even though I've never told them directly who I'd vote for. But in my workplace, it's a whole different thing. And so I said all that to say this. That as the church and we agree on this, the church should be the influence on society. That's what this show is about. It's really Christ and culture. How Christ is influencing the culture, not the culture influencing the church, but how we as a church are influencing the culture. And we cannot hope to change a culture if we are not engaged in the culture at some level. The Lord gave us this. He gave us dominion over this, right? And if we don't exercise that, that authority, we got problems. We're gonna have problems, and we cannot look at culture and go, "Oh, culture, you did something bad." So no, we allowed culture to do something bad because we did not try to influence it. So.
Yeah, the Bible tells us that the church is the pillar of truth.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to stand for truth. Absolutely.
Yeah, we sure do. For some of you, once again, you might be just watching this for the first time. I'm Pastor Sherman, this is Pastor Tommy, and this is Christ in Culture. Give us some feedback. We'd love to hear from you folks, and let us know how the show is affecting you, and if it's you'd like to hear some more. I know we got some cool things coming next year. I'm really excited about, and can't wait to let you guys know about it in the next coming weeks. There was another article, and this one's another article out of Christianity Today. Many of you know, just about a week ago, this young man by the name of Luigi Mangione took a shot and killed. He killed the CEO of United Healthcare, a man by the name of Brian Thompson. And since then, this kid has taken on, I don't know, heroic stature. I don't know how to put it. This is very strange. Now, so first of all, Pastor Tommy, could you ever imagine that a man who goes out and kills another person, whatever the reason is, that all of a sudden he becomes like this martyr for, not because that he killed the guy, but who he killed, and because he's got abs, I guess. Because this guy evidently is I guess he's a swarthy looking guy. The girls like him, but the guy's a murderer.
It kind of goes back to what we just talked about, and this is why we have to influence, those around us. The Bible does talk about, the time will come when good will be bad and it's up will be down. It's just crazy to think that people will make someone a hero for killing another man. Yeah. And it's not like, it was people who are accused of mass murder like Saddam Hussein or what was the other guy?
Osama bin Laden.
Osama bin Laden. It wasn't like that guy, but he killed a guy walking down the street and he shot him in his back. How is that heroic? He didn't save anybody's life.
No.
He didn't change anybody's life for the good. He didn't prevent some kind of catastrophe So that's kind of mind-boggling right there.
It is, and here's a crazy thing about it. They've already got 2 movie deals for this kid. I just read that. Wow. I read that just a little while ago, that they've already got 2 movie deals in the works already for this kid. I'm thinking to myself, what is wrong with people that they're saying, look, guys, at the very least, this kid is a lunatic. Okay, you don't just go out and shoot somebody. I don't care. Let's say, especially somebody as far removed as the CEO of a healthcare company. He's not the one who denied your policy. He's not the one who denied your thing. It was probably some low-level guy who said, no, we don't accept this, okay? So this guy probably had nothing to do. He probably had no idea what was going on. But people are going, yeah, let's write a story because he's heroic, because he's sticking it to the man, right? And he's got great abs. I'm going, you guys are out of your minds. So you got a lunatic that shoots somebody. Now you got a loony people who are now, they're looking at this as entertainment value. And they're all trying to make money off it. This is sick. and you still have a family that just lost their dad. The kids who lost their dad, a husband, a wife who lost her husband, moms and dads lost their son, and this kid and who wins in this whole thing? I just don't see it. So the question is he wicked for doing this? Is he evil for him doing this? What, I know it's hard to think of get inside this kid's mind, why he did what he's doing. But Pastor Tommy, would this qualify as wickedness, or just somebody just going nuts?
Yeah, no, it is wickedness. I mean, anybody in their right mind, mm-hmm. can't just go up and shoot somebody in the back for seemingly no reason. He didn't put a physical threat to his family. He didn't, put him in harm's way in any kind of way. The man was walking down the street and he shot him in the back. That is absolutely wicked. And you can only do that if you're out of your mind, whether it's drugs, whether it's schizophrenia, or whether it's demonic. And that's probably what it is. Mm-hmm. That's probably what it is. It's probably a demonic act.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, because this is I don't know how to put my finger. I wish there was a way to put your finger and go, that's what this is right there. This is what this, because we got to stop this. I mean, we just have to stop this. There was a time when in society that we were civil. We call ourselves a civil society. You've got an issue with somebody, you take them to court, somebody talks about this, and then you resolve the issue. Now people are just going around shooting people. This, they got the school shooters, right? I think the school shooters and this Mangione guy are all in the same boat. They got an issue with somebody. Okay, you have an issue with somebody. Let's talk about it. Let's try to find some resolution to it. No, let's go ahead and kill them. I'll just kill a bunch of people that I don't even know. That'll make me feel better. The school shooter killed herself, right? So we left that out of the article, but she killed herself after committing this horrific crime and this guy, this Mangione guy, is not a hero. He is not a hero. He's not even close to being a hero. He's a lunatic. He's the Luigi, and we pray for the families and we pray for the people who are left behind. But this guy is not a hero. He's been used by the devil to ruin people's lives. It's a shame.
Yeah. And we got to remember too, as children in the kingdom, we got to remember that we are dealing with principalities and powers, rulers of wickedness in high places, and it's not really the person. The Bible tells us we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. And so when it's things like this, the reason why we can't put our finger on it is just that. It's spiritual. Yeah. You could look at the guy's face, that picture that they have him grimacing, that is a demonic look. That is not somebody that's just upset and angry. There's something behind that.
Mm-hmm.
And you talk about, we used to live in a time where we were considered civil. I tell you, not only is it written in scripture that in the end times, there would be, men lovers of themselves, proud, blasphemies, boasters, and all these other things. We would have famines and earthquakes and murders, and all this thing is happening now. I actually saw a vision when I first moved here 17 years ago
Mm-hmm.
of total chaos. Now, 17 years ago, um, it wasn't like it is now. But 17 years ago, I had this vision where people were just literally running around shooting people. I saw crowds just moving, ransacking stores and all this stuff. And it's happening. It is happening just like I saw it. And I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, yeah, and you wouldn't think we're living in history. I mean, we're literally living to see it. And we're thinking to ourselves, no, this is not the wall it was. I thought we were getting to a place where we were going to be, we're past this. Remember the people said, oh, we're so excited about the future, because the future you're going to have flying cars, you're going to have, all this cool stuff. No, we're not. We've gone backwards, it seems like, because now you got people that are just shooting people for seemingly, like you said, seemingly no reason. And even if you had a reason to shoot them, this is not a video game, you guys. It's
not.
This, they don't reset, you guys. They don't get an extra life or anything like that. They do die, and you do go to jail. So this kid's looking at some hard time, but he's already got a GoFundMe page up. They actually had to take it down. They had to take the GoFundMe page down because somebody said, "Oh, we're gonna pay for his bills because we think he's sexy." It's like, guys, he's a murderer. Stop it. Who does that kind of stuff, right? Wow. Yeah. So there's another article. Speaking of, here's some good news. Okay. Now we know it's bad news for certain people, good news for other. In Syria, overthrow of the government in Syria, and the former leader of Syria, Assad, is now living in Russia, and he's exiled to Russia, and he's gone. And in his place, good thing is Israel is taking advantage of this, because the Syrian military, though it wasn't formidable, it was big enough to be a nuisance. Israel went in and just basically took out about 85% of their military, which is great. This is a great thing. There is a militia that is in place. There are people there that should not they're not good guys, but they're better than Assad was. And everybody can see the handwriting on the walls. Okay, Syria is going to be totally different, and so everybody's checking out. And a great article, this is from the Jerusalem Post, and it says large-scale withdrawal. Officials say Russian military has begun withdrawing soldiers from Syria. Moscow also continued withdrawing military equipment from bases across Syria, as reports last week of this incursion by these rebels. Now, this is a very interesting story. I need your feedback on this, Pastor. I'm trying to get this out of the way here. The Russian military has begun withdrawal of soldiers in Syria. Once again, CNN reported on Monday night, citing Western and American officials who referred to the withdrawal as large-scale and significant. This is big. Moscow also continued withdrawing military equipment from bases across Syria, reported by the Jerusalem Post. EU Foreign Policy Chief Katja Kallas told reporters on Monday after meeting with European foreign ministers that extremism, Russia, and Iran should not have a place in Syria's future. Now, here's the cool thing about it. Iran and Russia have been propping up Syria for decades now, especially Iran. And they've been using Syria to extend their arm of evil all across the Middle East. And now they can't do that, because now Assad is gone, and now these militiamen came in and they said, we're taking over. We're taking these rebels. They're coming over. They're taking their thing out. And now Russia's going, well, we're fighting a war over in, where are they fighting it at? Ukraine.
Ukraine.
They're fighting in Ukraine. And China's going, should we even help these guys either? No, we're not going to help anybody. So everybody's backing out of Syria. And once again, I mentioned this before, Israel has come in, decimated the military of Syria. And once again, Syria's military wasn't that great anyways. But what they had could have been a nuisance. And they could have hurt somebody. Good news. I would say this is actually great news, Pastor Tom. What do you think?
Yeah, it's good news for now. And the reason why I say for now is because we don't know what that government is going to turn into. Russia has no need to be there right now. They have their own war to fight right now, and they're actually preparing to fight us. Actually, that's pretty much what's happening. So they're going to relocate their troops to where they can better serve their country. It is good for right now, just simply for the fact that what you pointed out is that corridor through Iraq, from Iran through Iraq, through Syria to Lebanon to fund those forces that are fighting against Israel. That's shut off. That's cut off. So, now Israel, for the moment, is a whole lot safer with Syria having this happen. But we don't know what that government is actually going to turn into, because it's a vacuum now, and vacuums can be very dangerous, because somebody's going to say, nope, I want this place. I'm going to take it over, and we're going to go and invade Israel. We're going to, stand up or whatever. That could happen. Or, this is something that if the United States does not get involved in this, it is not going to be good.
Yeah.
Because you have Turkey. That wants that land to bring back the Ottoman Empire that it once was.
Oh.
Right? And their relationship with Israel is a little bit rocky because of the war with Hamas and Hezbollah.
Yeah.
Right? And so I can kind of see, I don't know, I can't predict the future, but I can see now how possibly the scripture that talks about, that great army coming from the north is literally coming from Turkey through Syria.
Yes. Okay.
So I can see now how that could possibly line up with that, which means it won't be good for Israel on the outside.
Yes. Yes.
But what actually takes place, it is great for Israel because of what the Lord said he would do in that instance.
Very good. What great insight on that. I mean, it really is, because once again, if you look at it prophetically, there is and I'm wondering if Jonathan Cahn is going to bring out something on this. I don't know if you.
I'm sure he will.
I just finished one of his books. I just ordered another one. Of course, I'm a Jonathan Cahn guy, you guys, folks. Many of you guys know this. I'm working on the beard, but Jonathan Cahn is able to see these things and go, yes, this is probably something very similar. That if we're looking at that enemy from the north, as has been prophesied, that this could be the way that this is going to happen. And you being a military man, Pastor Tommy, you've seen this. You understand that Turkey, once again, I didn't even think about this, that Turkey is going, hey, we like this. We like the fact that Syria is now weak. Let's go in there and see if we can fill that vacuum.
Yeah, because it actually used to be a part of the Ottoman Empire, and Erdogan has been saying that for the longest, since he's been in office, basically.
Oh, okay. Can't wait to look that up. Cannot wait to look that up. This is going to be very interesting to see. So, folks, this is the coolest thing. You don't get this on any place else, folks. If you're watching this show, no, this is true. You're probably thinking, oh my gosh, I never would have thought about that. That's right, because you don't see this on the mainstream news. Yeah, the mainstream news is looking at the obvious. But from God's perspective, guys, a whole different set of things could be happening here. And on God's prophetic timetable, this might just be that linchpin. Many of you have heard of this linchpin theory, right? Where one thing happens and it opens up a series of things that are going on. How was God going to open up a door for these other things to happen? This could be that thing that we look at. Let's keep an eye on it. What do you think?
Yes.
There's something. Once again, this is a good news story. This was an AP story, and this is about Australia. The Australian state, here, let me make sure, proposes a ban on protests at places of worship to fight rising anti-Semitism. This is from Melbourne. An Australian state government on Tuesday proposed new restrictions on protesters in response to new rising anti-Semitism, including a ban on demonstrations outside of places of worship. Victoria Premier Jacinto Allen proposed the new laws after arsonists damaged the Melbourne synagogue this month, and protesters kept fearful worshippers trapped inside a Sydney synagogue for 3 hours a week earlier. She said that's not peaceful protest, it's menacing behavior. And so basically what they're saying is, look, we're going to put together a law that is going to stop you folks from protesting outside of houses of worship. Not only that, but you can't wear masks, you can't do the Heil Hitler sign, you can't do any of that stuff because you're not, this goes beyond free speech. You're menacing people. And I'll tell you, that's about time. Because you know what? We've read stories about this before. You cannot come within, 500 feet, 100 yards, whatever it is, in front of an abortion clinic, right? You can't pray. Yeah. You can't just stand there with your, just praying silently. You can't do it. But you can go up in front of a church and, do whatever you want to do. And they go, oh, that's fine. You can do that in front of a church. So why is it you can do it in front of you can't do it in front of an abortion clinic, but you can do it in front of a church? Pastor Tommy, I think I'm going to take off my hat and say that this is good law. What do you think?
Yeah, I absolutely think it's a good law. Hopefully, people don't get all bent out of shape about it and try and get it repealed some kind of how. Because it's always something that you don't expect. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that is definitely a good thing. That brings a little bit of protection, at least on paper, that is, to congregations.
Yeah, I think so too. This will be a great thing. I think, as a matter of fact, I'm really surprised that I would assume if Australia is like America, that they're probably going to have a court challenge to this. That they're going to say, no.
That's exactly.
Yeah, you got to protect them Christians. Are you kidding me? No, we can't protect them Christians. Now you can abort. Yeah. You can protect places where hookers are at. You can protect places where abortions are at. You're going to protect all these other places. But if they're threatening the life of a Jew or a Christian, they're open. They're fair game.
Yeah, and that's what was in my mind when I said that. I was like, let's just hope. But yeah, right now it's definitely good.
That's good. That's good. I think we got time for one more article. This isn't something we've actually. Pastor Tom, I'm going to throw you a curve here because I was thinking about this and I thought I would just throw this at you. President Trump recently, so he's going to be in office here in the next 30 days or something like that, pretty close to 30 days. And when he was in his first term, he bought a bunch of the steel wall panels to put up for the Great Wall that he was going to build. When the Biden administration came in, they said, "Nope, we're not doing any of this stuff," and they let all this stuff sit. And now there's a article that I've been reading that they've been selling this stuff off, and now it's come to light that they've been selling this stuff off for literally nickels on the dollar, pennies on the dollar. that this stuff is being sold. And they showed, and not I guess my question is should there be a law against this? Should there be a law? Because they knew that this incoming president was going to do this. He was going to come back in. He's going to continue. We bought this stuff, hundreds of millions of dollars we bought this material for. And now the federal government goes, well, we don't care. We don't like that idea. So we're just going to sell all that stuff off, and you're going to have to buy it. Now it's going to cost us twice as much to build that same wall, because he's not going to stop. And now that Trump has got both houses of Congress, he's going to push this through. They're going to push it through now. Should there be a federal investigation? What should happen as a result of this, Pastor Tommy?
Just give Biden the bill. just sue him for the bill. You know, he's gonna that when I saw that, I go, you know what, that's pretty bizarre. Mm-hmm. Knowing that he would come in and finish the wall, you know, and say, well, you know what, let's just get rid of it, make it hard for him. By the way, while we're doing that, let's just start a war too while we're at it. Well, let's just start a war and just make things difficult. There's no other way to think about it than being vindictive. There's no other way to look at it. Yeah, send him the bill.
Send him the bill. Well, so this isn't like the little thing, because here's the funny thing about when George Bush the younger was voted into office. Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton were in the White House at the time. They'd been in for 8 years, and when they left, excuse me, they took all the W's, I think it was. They took on all the typewriters in the entire White House. They took all the W's off of all the keyboards. Remember that? See, that's being vindictive, right? Or they say, I'm taking all the drapes. I'm just taking all the drapes, okay? But here is money, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of stuff. Okay, one, I guess if you don't like the policy, that's fine. Okay, I get that. Okay, what do they say? Elections have consequences. But now they sold it all off. And here's the kicker, too. The people who bought that stuff, they're willing to sell it back to the federal government for twice as much as what we bought it for. That's sick.
Wow.
They're going, we bought it for nickels on the dollar. Like they get a whole pallet full, like a truck full for a nickel or $100. They go, oh yeah, we'll sell it back to you for $50 million. And you go,
so what they did is they sold it to their friends.
Yeah. Or they're selling it back. They're selling it back to the federal government. And so Donald Trump is now coming out. He's going, Joe, stop. Just stop this. This is ridiculous. You are being ridiculous. You've got a new House in right now. So you've got both houses of Congress. So I think most of them folks, no, they have not taken over yet. So none of this stuff has changed hands. So both houses of Congress are exactly the way it is. I would think the Congress is in the hands of the Republicans right now. I would think that they'd be able to stop this.
Yeah, there's got to be a way, and an investigation on who actually they sold it to. Because if they're willing to sell it back, they probably sold it to their friends. And the people who are happy about this, just remember, that's our tax-paying dollars that is being manipulated, by that. Mm-hmm. So hopefully, yeah, like you said, I was trying to be funny with that, but yeah, there should be an investigation, really, to find out, first of all, who it was sold to.
Yeah.
Because who would be willing to sell it back for twice as much? Come on, man. I think they sold it to their friends. They say, hey, look, we're gonna sell this to you. He's gonna want it. Just sell it to him. Just give me a cut.
Just give me a cut. I know, that's it. We're gonna make some real money on this. Oh, this is sick. Now, this isn't capitalism. This is bad. This is not even being a good capitalist. It's not like you saying, hey, guess what? I've got, these pair of glasses. I'm going to sell you a pair of glasses. You bought it from us already on pennies on the dollar, and now you're going to sell it back to your country.
Yeah.
Wow, that's just sick. Anyways, Pastor Tommy, I want to wish you, because we probably won't see you until next week or so, and But I want to wish you a Merry Christmas before, if I don't see you between now and then. And to you and your family, that you guys have a blessed, Christmas weekend, and that you get that you get some good stuff this year.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Please greet your lovely wife also.
I will do that. All right. We'll see you again next week, okay?
All right. God bless.
God bless you too. Bye-bye. And folks, we want to thank you all for being a part of the broadcast also. This has been Pastor Sherman for Christ and Culture. Once again, folks, if you want to write into us, let us know what's going on in your life, just go ahead and write to us at christandcultureshow@gmail.com. It's christandcultureshow@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Go to any one of our websites, folks, to get all of the stuff that you see here. You can go to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or you can go directly to christandculture.com and go right to our show. Okay. Anyways, this has been Pastor Sherman for Christ and Culture Show. Thank you so much, folks, for being a part of the broadcast. We will see you again next week for more Christ and Culture. You guys have a blessed week. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.